Hi guys, today we'll be solving Cambridge IGCSE Biology Paper 2 Multiple Choice October-November 2022. Question number 1. Which process is carried out by all living organisms? Growth, photosynthesis, sexual reproduction, transpiration. Guys, this is a very common question and we know that all living organism grows. So option A is correct answer. What are the features of the leaves of a plant that is dicotyledon? We know that a dicotyledon plant has broad leaves and have parallel veins. So option A is the correct answer. The photomicrograph shows a cell from a type of aquatic plant. Which parts labeled on the photomicrograph indicate that this is a plant cell? A plant cell can be indicated by chloroplast. So as you can see, this is a chloroplast. So S is a chloroplast. And it can be indicated by cell wall. In this case, Q is the cell wall. So Q and S, option D is the correct answer. The diagram shows an image of a chloroplast. The image is 5 centimeter long. The actual length of the chloroplast is 5 micrometer. What is the magnification of the image? Guys, this is a very common question. In order to find out the magnification, we'll have to write magnification is equals to image divided by actual. So the image is 5 centimeter. We need to convert it into micrometers. So 5 multiplied by 10 to convert it into millimeter, and then multiplied by 1000 to convert it into micrometer. Divided by 5 micrometer, which is the actual length. So the micrometer cancels out, and the 5 and 5 cancels out, and the answer is 10,000. So option C is the correct answer. What are the features of osmosis? We know that osmosis is the movement of water from a region of high water potential to region of low water potential. Is diffusion involved in it? Definitely, diffusion is involved in it. Does it require cell walls? Yes, it does not require cell wall. Does it require a partially permeable membrane? Yes, definitely it requires a partially permeable membrane. So option A is the correct answer. The diagram shows apparatus which can be used to demonstrate osmosis. Okay, so we have glass tube 1 and 2. Glass tube 1 contains a very concentrated sucrose solution with a partially permeable membrane, and glass tube 2 also contains concentrated sucrose solution with a partially permeable membrane. After 1 hour, what would happen to the liquid levels in the glass tube? Since they contain very concentrated or concentrated sucrose solution, both glass tubes are going to gain water because water is freely permeable through this partially permeable membrane. So in this case, the liquid level in tube 1 is definitely going to rise. The liquid level in tube 2 is also definitely going to rise. So option D is the correct answer. Which substances are made by linking together glucose molecules only? Glucose molecules can be made into cellulose, it can be made into glycogen or starch. We know that fats are not made from glucose, neither proteins or oils are made from glucose. So option B, C, D are wrong, and option A is the correct answer. When base pair up in the formation of DNA, what is one of the pairings? We know that in DNA, A pairs with T with 2 hydrogen bond and C pairs with G with 3 hydrogen bonds. So G with C, option B is the correct answer. The graph shows the effect of pH on the rate of reaction of an enzyme. Okay, what does the graph show? Guys, we can see the graph is showing this particular enzyme is best active at pH 7. Any increase or decrease in pH is decreasing the rate of reaction. So the question says the enzyme is destroyed at pH 9. Well, the enzyme still has some rate of reaction, so it's not completely destroyed. The enzyme works best at pH 6, and the enzyme works best at pH 7. The rate of reaction halves as the pH changes from pH 5 to pH 7. So from pH 5 to pH 7, the rate is actually increasing. So option A, B, C are all wrong. So option D, the rate of the reaction is the same at pH 5 and 8.5. Okay, so let's look into this one. At pH 5, the rate is, all right, and then let's move same level at 8.5. The pH, the rate and activity is same. So option D is the correct answer. The graph shows how enzyme activity is affected by temperature. All right, how can the change in activity between 40 and 55 degrees Celsius can be explained? Okay, guys, we see that the enzyme, as the temperature increases from 0 to 40 degrees Celsius, increases in activity. Okay, about 45 degrees Celsius, it increases in activity. Beyond an increase of that temperature, we see that the enzyme decreases in activity until 55 degrees Celsius, where the enzyme is completely destroyed. Enzymes are not living things, so heat has killed the enzyme? No. All right, enzyme cannot die. The enzyme has been used up. No, the enzyme is still there. The reactants are moving faster. Yes, they're moving faster, but that wouldn't decrease the rate of reaction. The substrate is less likely to fit into the active site. Definitely, because a high temperature denatures the enzyme, which changes the active site, thereby substrate can no longer feed the active site. So option D is the correct answer. The graph shows how the rate of photosynthesis of a plant changes with light intensity at three different carbon dioxide concentration. In each case, the temperature is 15 degrees Celsius. So temperature is fixed for all experiment. So we can see light intensity is being increased in this direction. Okay, and at 0.10% carbon dioxide, we can see the rate of photosynthesis is really fast. What is the limiting factor for the rate of photosynthesis at point X on the graph? Guys, as we can see, the line has plateaued, meaning that the light intensity is no longer limiting. So the main thing that is actually limiting the rate of reaction, we can say, is basically carbon dioxide concentration. So definitely A is the correct answer. Carbon dioxide concentration is limiting the rate of reaction at point X. Question number 12. The graph shows how the percentage of protein found in potatoes was affected by the concentration of nitrate fertilizer added to the crop when it was growing. Concentration of nitrate fertilizer added, as we can see that when the concentration is added significantly higher, the percentage of protein in the potatoes increased. Well, it didn't increase exponentially, but it did increase. These results suggest that greater concentration of nitrate fertilizer allow the potatoes to make more. Definitely, nitrate fertilizer allows plant to make more amino acids. Nitrate is needed for amino acid. Nitrate is not needed for cellulose or lipids or starch, since they are carbohydrate or they only contain carbon and hydrogen and oxygen, does not require nitrogen. So option A is the correct answer. Which stage of nutrition takes place when food molecules become part of body cells? Well, absorption brings them into the blood, but assimilation makes them part of the body. Digestion makes them into smaller molecules. Ingestion is basically eating. So B is the correct answer, assimilation. Question 14. The diagram shows the apparatus used in an experiment to demonstrate two processes that take place in the body. So, dialysis tubing, ends are tightly sealed, means nothing can escape. Test tube, and then we have pure water. Dialysis tubing, which is partially permeable, and mixture of saliva and starch. Guys, we know that saliva contains amylase. So, amylase is going to break down the starch to produce simple sugars. All right, and since the water does not contain any simple sugar, so the simple sugar will diffuse into the water. After 1 hour, the water outside the dialysis tubing contained reducing sugar. Which two processes are represented by this experiment? So, first of all, we can understand that digestion is taking place when saliva is breaking down the starch. So, digestion. And since the simple sugars are diffusing into the pure water, which is similar to absorption. All right. So option A is correct. Option B has absorption and egestion. Well, there is no egestion taking place. Option C, also egestion not taking place, and ingestion is not taking place. So BCD is wrong. In which order does water pass through these structures in a plant? So water moves from mesophyll into root hair. Well, this is wrong. Water moves from mesophyll. Again, this is wrong. Water will move from the root hair into the xylem and then into the mesophyll. So option D is correct. Question 16. What is a function of phloem? Phloem transport minerals to the roots. Phloem does not, the main job of phloem is not to transport minerals. Phloem transports starch to the root. Starch cannot be transported. Phloem transports sugar to the root. Yes. Phloem transport water to the root. No. So option C is the correct answer. What ensures the blood flow in one direction in human circulatory system? Diffusion of carbon dioxide? No. Diffusion of oxygen? No. Thick walled arteries? No. And valves? Yes, valves ensures that blood flows in one direction only. The diagram shows four components of blood. Which component produces antibodies? Guys, phagocytes does not produce antibodies. This is lymphocyte. This is red blood cell. This is platelets. So lymphocyte produces antibodies. Red blood cell and platelets does not produce antibodies. A patient was injected with antibodies after being bitten by a poisonous snake. The patient recovered and survived. What describes the effect in the patient's body? Well, active immunity. No, this is not an active immunity because the patient is given the antibodies. Passive immunity, yes. And memory cells are not produced. So option D correct. The diagram shows some of the structures in a human lung. Where is the carbon dioxide concentration highest? Carbon dioxide concentration will be highest that from the blood that we are receiving from the pulmonary artery. So option B is the correct answer. The blood coming from pulmonary artery will have the highest carbon dioxide concentration. What is produced during anaerobic respiration in muscles? Anaerobic respiration in muscles does not produce carbon dioxide, ethanol, or water. It produces lactic acid. So option C, correct. How do the concentrations of glucose and urea in urine compare to their concentration in blood plasma? Glucose concentration in urine compared to blood plasma. Glucose concentration in the urine will be lower. Urea concentration in urine compared to blood plasma will be higher. So option D is correct. Which structure contains relay neurons? Relay neurons are mostly contained within the spinal cord. So option C correct. A man injures his arm in an accident. Afterwards, he can move his hands but cannot feel objects touching his hand. What could cause this? Both sensory and motor neurons are cut. Well, motor neurons are not cut because he can move his hand. Effectors are damaged? No, effectors are not damaged. He can move his hands. Motor neurons are cut? No. Sensory neurons are cut? Yes, because he cannot sense the object but he can still move his hand. How does the skin react when the body becomes cold? Arterioles supplying the skin surface skin surface definitely will constrict and sweat production will definitely decrease. Option 25A. Which characteristics of viruses prevent them from being affected by antibiotics? Okay, they cannot reproduce on their own. No. They contain DNA or RNA? No. They have no cell structure? Yes. You see, antibiotics work on different cell structure. So they do not have any cell structure, so obviously antibiotics cannot work on them. They are much smaller than bacteria. That doesn't matter. So option C is the correct answer. Question number 27. Some flowers can only be pollinated by specific insect species. What will happen if none of these insects are present? Well, if none of the insect, the key word is none of the insect are present. So genetically different seed will be produced? No. Genetically identical seeds will be produced? Probably no. There is a very likelihood that since they are insect pollinated, no seed will be produced. So option C sounds like the most favorable. Only small amount of seed will be produced? No. Which hormone is used in contraceptive pill? Contraceptive pill does not use insulin. Contraceptive pill does not use luteinizing hormone because it stimulates ovulation, or follicle stimulating hormone because it stimulates more follicles to be produced. Contraceptive pills does use progesterone, which prevents the breakdown of the lining of the uterus. Which hormone causes the lining of the uterus to become thick and glandular before ovulation? Adrenaline does not. Follicle stimulating hormone does not. Estrogen, yes. Progesterone main function is to maintain uterus lining. So option C is the correct answer. The diagram shows human nuclei and the number of chromosomes in each nucleus. Which diagram represents nuclear division of skin cells for growth and repair? So we know that for growth and repair, we need to do mitosis. Mitosis will produce genetically identical cells. So option A is a reduction division, so wrong. Option B is producing genetically identical cells, so definitely correct. Option C is fertilization. Option D is mitosis, but then it is producing just identical cells which are haploid, so not correct. Meiosis is sometimes called reduction division. What is reduced during meiosis? Body cells are reduced in size? No. Chromosomes are reduced in number? Yes. Chromosome number reduces. It exactly halves. The number of gametes is reduced? No. The rate of the cell division is reduced? No. So B, chromosome number are reduced. Okay. In guinea pig, the allele for black fur is dominant. Question 32. In guinea pig, the allele for black fur is dominant and the allele for white fur is recessive. So black fur is dominant, so capital B for the dominant black fur, and small b for white fur. A test cross can be used to determine the genotype of a black guinea pig. So a black guinea pig can be either capital B and small b, or capital B and capital B. What would be the expected result for the test cross if the black guinea pig was heterozygous? Well, if the black guinea pig was heterozygous, test cross should always be performed with a homozygous recessive organism. So the resulting population will be 50% black and 50% white. So option A will be the correct answer. What is not affected by the environment? Well, we know that skin color is definitely affected by the environment. Height is definitely affected by the environment. Weight is also definitely affected by the environment. So depending skin color, because depending on how much you expose to sunlight. Height can be because how much food is available for you and everything. But blood group is not affected by environment at all. It is totally genetics. So option C is the correct answer. Question 34. Desert plants have evolved to survive in places where very little water is available. which process is reduced to enable them to retain as much water as possible. So you see, transpiration is one of the process which reduces water from a plant. So definitely they must reduce the transpiration. Translocation does not affect water, respiration does not, digestion doesn't. So A, transpiration affects the availability of water in a plant. So transpiration must be reduced in a plant in order to survive in a dry condition. The diagram shows a pyramid of number. Okay, so we can see in the first level we have a single producer, all right, maybe a single producer, and then in the second level, all right, primary consumer, and then the third one we will have secondary consumer. What are the correct description of the trophic levels? So the first one will be definitely producers, the second one will be primary consumers, and the third one will be secondary consumers. So option A is the correct answer. Bacteria are active in the nitrogen cycle. Which process in the nitrogen cycle is carried out by nitrifying bacteria? The conversion of nitrogen gas to ammonia. No. The conversion of nitrogen gas to nitrates. No. The conversion of ammonia to nitrates. Yes. Nitrifying bacteria converts ammonia to nitrates. Nitrates are the form of nitrogen that is soluble in water and also plant can absorb it. The diagram shows a population growth curve. Number of individual in the population. Time/days. Okay, so initially we have a lag phase. And after day 20, we see a log phase. And after day 40, we see a stationary phase. And after day 80, we see a death phase. How long does the population remain in the stationary phase? So we can see between 60 to 80 days. So we can say like 20 days. 23 days sounds like a possible correct answer. Option C correct. The stages describe how genetic engineering can be used to produce human insulin from bacteria. Cut bacterial plasmid with restriction enzymes. Okay. Extract gene for insulin from human DNA with restriction enzymes. Insert recombinant plasmid into bacteria. Join human DNA to bacterial plasmid. DNA using DNA ligase. Replicate bacteria containing recombinant plasmid. Which sequence will lead to the production of human insulin by bacteria? So, first of all, we need the insulin from human DNA. So we need to cut it with a restriction enzyme. So this will be the first one. So let's just name it with A. And then we need to cut the bacterial plasmid with the restriction enzyme. So that will be B. Then we need to join the human DNA to bacterial plasmid using the DNA ligase. So that will be C. And then we'll need to insert that recombinant plasmid into a bacteria. That will be D. And then we'll need to replicate the bacteria that contains a recombinant plasmid. That will be E. So the answer will be 2, 1, 4, 3, 5. Option A is the correct answer. What is an example of sustainable use of resources? Allowing only young fish to be caught? No. If we caught the young fish, that will be less of a food. Cutting down a forest and not replanting trees? No, that will be an unsustainable use of resources. Controlling the number of fish caught with quotas? Yes, we can control that. Planting deforested areas with one species of crop plant, no, that is monoculture, would not be a good idea. So C. The hormone from the female contraceptive pill can pollute water courses. What effect do they have? So female contraceptive pill, all right, mainly consist of estrogen or progesterone. So basically, which can cause feminization in some organism. Decreases the amount of oxygen for fish? No. Decreases the sperm count for of men? Yes, that is a problem. Increases the growth of producers? No. Increases the number of decomposers? No. So it can decrease the sperm count of men significantly. Guys, thank you for joining the class. We will be continuing more question paper in future videos. So write in the comments which question paper do you want us to solve next. And please comment on the video, like the video, and share with your friends, and subscribe.